Hi everyone, it's Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat. I'm back with another Make It Masculine card, well, 2 cards in my series where I'm challenging myself, self-inflicted, to make 2 masculine cards per month. No, 1 masculine card per month. That's my challenge, but I have ended up making 2 each month so far. Because I really don't like doing boy cards. It's that simple. So my theme for this month that I gave myself was landscape, and it made me think of these masks from Claritystamps, and I went for a very clarity type card. Bit of Barbara Gray, for those who have followed my blog for a while, you will know I, back in the day, was obsessed with Barbara Gray. I'm still obsessed with Barbara Gray, although I don't really do very many of these types of cards anymore, but I've still remembered everything she's taught me. So the masks are like reusable masks, and you can create hills and landscapes, and I know that Clarity do lots and lots of these types of things on their website, so I encourage you to go and find out more. And anybody who's interested in these sorts of cards where you use this kind of thing, go and follow Deborah Wheeler, her blog, which I follow, and she very kindly follows me too. She does lots of beautiful cards using Claritystamps. She's part of their design team and also does sort of some of their Clarity Social TV and selling TV and stuff. So there's the masks that create the moon stroke suns, and you can see there it looks a bit of a hot mess at this moment in time, but I had got a plan in my head. Okay, so I'm just going to touch this up a little bit more. It doesn't really matter that the blending's not 100% smooth, or that I've left some like little lines in my hills, because quite a bit of this ends up being cut off, even though I'm doing it at this point thinking that I was going to use it, but I thought that the dies I'm going to bring in a second were bigger than they are. So I have these die cuts. Now, I bought these off eBay probably about 10 years ago, and these are the last 2 that I have in my stash. And I found them the other day and thought, oh, I could use those at some point, and they were still in my head at this point. Now, no idea why I'd got masking tape all over my stamp platform. But I have these Claritystamps. Again, these are ancient Claritystamps. They don't really have the full packaging anymore. And they have brilliant silhouette stamps, and they work so well with this VersaFine. And I'm just adding that little bit of interest to my little landscape that I've created with a little bit of black stamping that will then be within the frame of the window that I've created. And I think they were called Birdhouse or something along those lines. I think that was the name of the stamp set. But yeah, I've had these for donkey's years. I just don't use them very often. And I'm now thinking, why do I not use them very often? Because they're beautiful. So I keep bringing in that frame so I know what will be visible. Sometimes I got it right and sometimes I didn't quite get it right. But I've brought those in. And at one point, for some reason, I thought I was going to stamp a bird on the inside of the window frame, which would be very weird, because clearly the birds are going to be outside. And then I decided, no, that bird is going to sit on the fence, and this bird is a flying bird, and it's going to be flying in the sky. And that is the main sense of the card. And you might think, but there's loads of minutes left in this video. That's because it all went a bit mad after this. So I am trimming it down. I'm going to pop the frame on, the window frame on. I do put a little bit of glue down the central bits just so it doesn't sort of like go a bit weird and loose. And then I am going to do the same with the bigger piece. And I just wanted different skies for each of them. So one of them's a bit of a sunset and one of them's a bit of a sunrise, I suppose. But yeah, I didn't want them to be both identical, even though it's the same idea for both of them. And again, I made 2 cards because I knew that the landscape I was making on that piece of cardstock was going to be too big for 1 card. And at this point, I thought I was going to put them on white card blanks. And then I was like, no, for a start, the white that die cut is a different colour tone to the white of that card. And this is the thing when you've bought somebody else's die cuts and I've no idea what cardstock they used for it, and it was many years ago, probably not going to get the same colour again. And at this point I thought, right, I'm going to go navy. And I'm going to do a bit of a Martin Mayhem thing, and I'm going to create 2 layers, so a colour on colour. And I'm going to emboss these ones is what I decided. So I took this, I think it's called Time Worn Type or something along those lines. I took that embossing folder and did it both times using that. But I did one so that the embossing was up and one so the embossing was down, and then the second one I went a bit crazy with, and that's when it all went a bit mad. So I decided to just ink up the edges of this using Night of Navy, which is a slightly different colour from that cardstock. The cardstock, I totally can't tell you where I've got it from. It's just in my stash. It's not good quality cardstock. It's quite thin. I will have to reinforce the inside of the card as well with that quite thick white cardstock. That'll help keep it sturdy. They do stand up fine, but it's not the best of cardstocks. So I have inked up the edges of that just to give it a little bit of a difference from the background. And this, I'm just using some scrap pieces of cardstock to add some strength to the back of the die cut. It's just going to lift it up, so I don't need to use craft foam on the layer behind the window, but it just gives it that bit of dimension. I had already got the foiled sentiment, which is one of those Dina Wakley ones that I've bought fairly recently. I already had that foiled and die cut and ready. I only had one of them, and you can probably sense where this video is going. Yes, I go a bit foiling mad. So behind that panel, I did raise that up on craft foam, just that little bit thinner, the craft foam, than the adhesive tabs. And it just gives it a lovely bit of dimension. I had it distress the edges as well, so that was going to look different. And at this point I thought, right, if I've got a foil or sentiment, I might as well stick my glimmer on and do something else as well. And so I decided to glimmer the Dina Wakley text stamp to the background. And it didn't quite go to plan exactly, but I still love the end result. Now, because I didn't have an intention of doing glimmering, I hadn't put it on in advance, I hadn't heated my glimmer up, and so now you've got to wait a little while because I've got to wait for it all to heat up. So at this point, I start doing some cleaning and some tidying. Now, obviously, you're watching this in fast forward, so it doesn't take too long for it to heat up, but you have to wait until that first green light comes on, then you press your timer, and then when the timer is finished, it's ready to run it through your die cutting machine. So I'm filming this on Sunday and editing it on Sunday. Oh, so you can see there, it hadn't quite gone to the edge of the panel. Again, I decided not to bother worrying about it because the whole idea is for it to be a bit scruffy. Anyway, I'm filming this on Sunday. On Saturday, I'd been at a crop, and so I hadn't actually put all my stuff away. So as I'm crafting and I'm waiting for it to all heat up, etc., I am putting other things away whilst I'm waiting for it to work, waiting for it to warm up, etc. And you'll see I've made a bit of a boo-boo here. I've totally forgotten to stick it into the little socket so that it starts heating up. So again, I've got to wait again. Not as long because it already was quite warm, but it wasn't hot. So again, I'm tidying up. Now, this time I'm doing the sentiments, which was the one thing that I knew I needed to do. I decided I was going to put some little brads on this one. So I've been and got some brads out, and I'm still tidying stuff up, but now it's ready to foil. And I thought, well, whilst I'm here and I've got that little bit of foil that's free, I'll do some more foiling. Because I forgot I was on video, if I'm perfectly honest. So at this point, oh, can you see a little boo-boo there? Did it the wrong way round, didn't matter. I realised in time. So it's always pretty side down, then the cardstock on top. But yeah, so I am fiddling around, sorting it out, waiting for it to do, and then I've done a few extra sentiments, and now I'm like, right, okay, glimmer sheet will be going away now. Stop. You've remembered that you're on a video and that you maybe don't need everybody watching this. But you'll see that this is what I do. I tend to, when I'm doing something like this, especially with the glimmer machine, which I am in love with, it's much better to do a few at once. Might as well, whilst I've got it all out, I've done the bothering, it's much better to just do a few at once. And also, once I've cut into a piece of cardstock, I might as well keep going and create some mats and layers. So I have got a little puddle off there to the left hand side for future ones to do. I made a little mistake here and I pulled aside the wrong size of die cut, so it only ends up being two layers thick, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So you can see there, I haven't really done the foiling brilliantly. Because it was an afterthought and it's already on top of an embossed background, it really doesn't matter, but it's only in those two places. And so that determines really where I'm going to put my window. I do the same as last time, scrap cardstock to be able to create a couple of layers just to raise it up a little bit. Probably should have done my distressing already by this point, but I don't think about it until a little bit later. And this time I decided to ink up this piece of the cardstock, the actual card blank, so that there's again the difference between the background and the next layer, only very subtle, nothing major. And at this point I decided, oh no, I am going to distress the edges. It had slightly torn in one place because it was such thin cardstock. Again, piece of the fun foam. This is just children's craft foam that I use because it's quite thin, but it's again a nice layer to be able to add it on. And I think, oh yes, the insides of the cards. So whenever I'm doing a navy or a dark coloured cardstock, I always put a panel of white in. And after I'd stuck that first one in, I suddenly thought, oh, I could have decorated it. So the second one I did, I just added a little bit of ink, just whatever was still on the brush, and a little bit of stamping so that it coordinates. And there's my two cards. So 2 cards, suitable for boys or girls, to be fair. I think a woman would like this too, but definitely something that I would be happy to give a male recipient. And obviously the one that I love the most is the one that I foiled, because I just love foiling. I've completely fallen in love with the Glimmer machine. So I have got here in the nick of time for doing this for this month. It really has been a very edge of the seat kind of thing to get this one done. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do give me a thumbs up if you did. Comment below, do you like doing boy cards, and would you be happy with these for a male recipient? And until next time, goodbye.